Discipline is not a personality trait. It is not something you are born with, and it is not something reserved for high performers. Discipline is a trained neurological response. And most people have unknowingly trained their brain to avoid it. Every time you delay a task, your brain learns that discomfort should be escaped. Every time you give in to distraction, your brain records that relief is more important than progress. Over time, this repetition wires a pattern, not laziness, not weakness, a pattern. The problem is not that you lack discipline. The problem is that your brain has been conditioned for comfort. The Lotus Method works because it does not attack behavior directly. It reshapes the pattern underneath it. A lotus grows in muddy water. It does not wait for the water to become clean. It rises through discomfort. That is the principle behind this method. Discipline is not built in perfect conditions. It is built by moving through resistance repeatedly, calmly, and intentionally. The first shift is understanding that discipline is not about intensity. Intensity burns out. Discipline is about controlled repetition. The brain adapts to what it experiences consistently. If discomfort is avoided, avoidance strengthens. If discomfort is faced in small doses, resilience strengthens. The Lotus Method begins by shrinking the battlefield. Instead of trying to overhaul your entire life, you identify one small action that represents movement, not the final result, just movement. The brain resists large transformations because they signal uncertainty, but it tolerates small, contained effort. When you choose one defined action and repeat it daily, regardless of mood, you interrupt emotional negotiation. You stop asking how you feel. You start acting because it is time to act. That shift is everything. Most people believe discipline requires motivation. In reality, motivation is unreliable. It depends on sleep, stress, and environment. Discipline must operate independently of emotion. The Lotus Method trains this separation. Action becomes scheduled, not debated. When resistance appears, and it will, the method does not demand force. It demands continuation. You do not push harder. You continue calmly. The brain learns that discomfort does not stop movement. That lesson rewires future behavior. Another critical component is controlled exposure to difficulty. The brain strengthens when it survives mild stress repeatedly. Avoiding stress weakens it. By deliberately choosing small, uncomfortable actions daily, you expand your tolerance threshold. What once felt heavy becomes manageable. Over time, identity begins to shift. You stop seeing yourself as someone who tries. You begin to see yourself as someone who executes. This identity shift is subtle but powerful. The brain aligns behavior with identity automatically. The Lotus Method also eliminates perfectionism. Discipline collapses when perfection becomes the standard. The goal is consistency, not flawless performance. Even imperfect action counts. The brain only tracks repetition. When repetition stabilizes, momentum forms. Momentum reduces friction. Friction reduction makes action easier. Easier action strengthens discipline further. It becomes a cycle. What makes this method powerful is its simplicity. There are no dramatic rituals, no extreme routines, just repeated exposure to controlled discomfort paired with calm execution. The more often you act despite resistance, the quieter resistance becomes. The brain begins to predict action instead of avoidance. Decision fatigue decreases. Internal arguments shorten. Starting becomes faster. Eventually, discipline stops feeling forced. It becomes automatic. And when discipline becomes automatic, goals accelerate. Focus sharpens. Confidence stabilizes. Not because you feel different, but because your behavior has changed long enough to reshape your brain. The lotus does not rush its growth. It rises steadily, quietly, through conditions that would stop weaker roots. Discipline works the same way. It is not loud. It is not dramatic. It is consistent. You do not wait to feel ready. You act while unready. You do not wait for comfort. You move through discomfort. You do not rely on motivation. You rely on repetition. Train the brain this way long enough, and maximum discipline is no longer something you chase. It becomes who you are.